told me I should fight back. They don't like that. Just know if you rock the boat, you better have a life raft. Woo!
What up, everybody in the YTBC? Big shout out to all the uploaders, everybody who is promoting the sport of boxing and doing it while keeping their integrity intact. Just too many channels out here just being completely biased, lying through their teeth, just being intentionally dishonest. So, big shout out to those of you who are not doing that. Now, I want to get started by, giving my congratulations to everybody who won over the weekend. Everybody from Felix Verdejo to Teofimo Lopez to Terrence Crawford to Danny Garcia to David Allen, and anybody who I didn't mention who won over the weekend. Big congratulations to all of you. I just want to cover a couple different topics. I know I haven't been uploading much, and to be honest, I just haven't had a whole lot of time for boxing. I've been trying to make time for boxing as much as I can. I did watch the pay-per-view over the weekend. Been joining in on boxing conversations whenever I can. Been trying to watch y'all's videos, commenting, catching the live streams. It's probably what I've done the most of, really. It's catching live streams and interacting with people in the comments, in the chat, I should say, on live streams. Big congratulations to Jay Cotto hitting 1,000 subscribers. Big shout out to Sporting Icons for assisting him in achieving that. That way he can continue to go live. I think I've only done like one live in the past. But if YouTube is keeping you from doing lives if you have less than 1,000 subscribers, well then I guess I won't be going live anytime soon. But anyways, I did want to cover, I did join in on a BDA boxing talk. I would say it was like 2 weeks ago. Big shout out to BDA and King Bucho, because even though I'm very rarely available, they consistently send me invites when they're doing a live chat. I do appreciate keeping me in mind, and all I gotta say is King Bucho and BDA, if you don't mind, keep me in mind, because if I am available, I will join in on the call. I haven't been available the last couple times y'all send me invites, but I just want you to know I do take note that you do that, and I greatly appreciate it. And in turn, if I'm available, I will jump on. Anyways, I think that's pretty much all the preliminary crap I wanted to go over. Let me go ahead and go over a couple things going on in the boxing world right now. First, I want to talk about Big Baby Miller. Big Baby Miller is somebody who's really been on my shit list for quite some time. I used to support the guy. I used to think that, he was doing what he's supposed to do. And for a while he was, you got to start somewhere. Not everybody is going to move at the same pace, like Lomachenko, he only has 14 fights or something like that. And he's, already considered by a lot of people to be pound for pound number one. I'm not one of those people, but to each their own. To have that, so little fights, but to even be in the pound for pound conversation at the amount of fights that he's had, that's an accomplishment in itself. But back to Jerome Miller, I think he was doing what he was supposed to do, moving at the pace he was supposed to move for a while. But it seemed like then he tried to take the fast, easy way at getting a title shot. At one point he was going to try to fight Emmanuel Char for his title instead of going for the actual world titles. For basically a number one contender spot, basically. So, If I'm not mistaken, Emmanuel Char actually tested positive for something. I really didn't follow up with whatever happened after that, but that fight just didn't happen. And he was able to get the Anthony Joshua fight at Madison Square Garden for June 1st. He proceeds to accuse, or really, not really accuse, but just saying that he has his suspicions that Anthony Joshua is on some kind of performing enhancements drug, and then he gets popped, not for one, not for two, but for 3 banned substances. Now, I mean, that's kind of poetic justice, some irony in there, you know, that you would accuse the guy you're going to fight or allude to the fact that you think he is on something, and then you're the one who gets busted. Now, in most cases, when a fighter gets busted, I wouldn't say ban him for life. I do think these bans tend to be a bit too light. 6 months when these guys are only fighting twice a year is not really a ban. That's just them, they're really, it just allows them to keep the schedule that they've been doing anyway. Now, Jerome Miller, he's been fighting a little bit more active than that. Not by a whole lot, but, I would say he fights usually 3 times a year, just off the top of my head. But the fact that he got busted for 3, like normally, like, I'll put it this way. If it was up to me, all these guys who get busted the first time, I think they should get a 2 or 3 year ban. Because you're not allowing them to make money off of their skill. They're losing years to build their legacy. I think it's a fair punishment when you get caught the first time. Like, it definitely will make you think twice before you do it again. Do it again, then I would say, give like a 5-year ban. And, you wasted many years of your more than likely you're losing prime years at that point. And, that's how I would handle it. And then 3rd time would probably be a life ban. Like, you just you habitually break these rules. Now, of course, you have to do some investigation as well. See, it's just one of those things. You also have to kind of handle it case by case. But generally speaking, depending on what you find out from investigations, you should apply these bans. That's how I would handle it. Being that Jerome Miller got busted for 3 of them, he obviously was cheating. It's just blatant that he cheated. All this bullshit about Anthony Joshua set Jerome Miller up, that goes out the window when Jerome Miller himself apologizes and admits to using these banned substances. If he was set up, he wouldn't be making it even easier for those who set him up by admitting to using these banned substances. So that goes out the window. I think Jerome Miller really just needs to be banned for life from any combat sport. Like, this isn't track. People have died in that ring. People have lost their livelihoods in that ring. So people have lost their faculties in that ring. For you to take banned substance after banned substance after banned substance, I think he should be banned for life. Now, being banned for life, could there always be a possibility of appeal in the future? Yeah, I mean, I believe in second chances, but for now, I think he needs to be banned for life. And an appeal should come with very, very strict guidelines and very strict criteria to even be considered court an appeal, and then the follow through would be just that more, what's the word I'm looking for? Thorough. And if you're able to get through all of that, maybe there's a possibility that you can fight again. Once again, keep in mind, you're going to lose some time off of your career going through that process. And it's really your own fault for using banned substances. That's where I'm at with Jerome Miller. Make an example out of him. Make these other guys see that it ain't worth it to get busted. Because these 6-month bans, they don't do nothing. They don't deter whatsoever. And it's very apparent when you see these guys, Marcellus Wilder, Deontay Wilder's younger brother, just got popped not that long ago. Got guys like Lucian Bute and the list just goes on and on of guys Canelo Alvarez. Luis Ortiz got busted, a couple times. Povetkin got busted, a couple times. So you just have this going on way too much. And part of the problem is these 6-month bans or the punishments are just, it's not good enough. Make an example out of Jerome Miller. He got busted 3 times for 3 things in one sitting. Make an example out of him. He deserves to be the example. Now, I think that's about everything I gotta say about that situation. Screw those conspiracy theories. Those already got debunked by Jerome Miller's own big baby mouth. And make an example out of him. Now, I really want to touch on this whole controversy, with Terrence Crawford and Amir Khan. I don't really see the need for there to be this much controversy, right? Amir Khan lost. Now, I have to disagree with Terrence Crawford. He said it wasn't a low blow. I saw it to be a low blow, but I don't see it to be intentional. It was an unintentional low blow in a fight. You can't always predict what direction a guy's going to move. Terrence Crawford was only his 3rd fight at welterweight. He's out of all his fights, he's mainly fought smaller guys. So who knows? Maybe he's not quite adjusted to hitting to the body on a bigger guy. So I didn't find it to be intentional. This whole talk about he needed to be disqualified is all ridiculous. In fights, fouls happen unintentionally all the time. On the same fight card, Stevenson was fighting Diaz, and both these guys were stepping on each other's feet the whole night. Most of it unintentional, but that's not allowed in boxing. Should they have both been disqualified? Should it have been a double disqualification because they both stepped on each other's feet? Because they did it way more times than Crawford low blowed Amir Khan. Headbutts happen all the time. There's a difference between intentional and unintentional. You got headbutts that happen mistakenly, and then you got blatant headbutts like what happened with Vic Ortiz when he fought Floyd Mayweather Jr. That was a blatant headbutt. And when that happened, he lost a point. He didn't immediately get disqualified. When these things happen, if it's unintentional and it happened once, you give the guy 5 minutes. It's different if they keep doing it, eventually then they take away a point. It's protocol. It's not protocol just to crucify after the first transgression. That's never been protocol in boxing. Okay, it's not the same as when you bite somebody, like with Cash Ali a couple weeks ago, Mike Tyson back in the day. You know, those are intentional fouls. Those are intentional transgressions, as opposed to in the heat of the moment, Terrence Crawford miscalculated a punch and it just so happened to go below the belt. You know, caught Amir Khan like in the inner thigh area. Protocol is you give the guy 5 minutes, which they did. Now, one of the dumbest arguments that I've heard is, well, they didn't give him the 5 minutes. Well, everybody who gets hit by a low blow should get 5 minutes. They did. They gave him 5 minutes. But in all the commotion with the, you know, the referee checking with Amir Khan and everything, it's very easy to see this dude with an earpiece came over there and said, hey, the fight's over. And come to find out, it was Virgil Hunter. I see people completely ignoring the fact that it was Virgil Hunter who ended the fight. Like, straight up, Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, blind to the whole fact that it was Keisha Cole's father, a.k.a. Virgil Hunter, who called off the fight. Now, what happens when a fighter's corner calls off the fight? It is ruled a TKO. Now, the protocol would have been, had Amir Khan got the whole 5 minutes, at the end of 5 minutes, he would either say, yes, we can continue, or no, I can't continue. Or even before the 5 minutes is up, he can say, okay, I'm good to go. But at the end of the if 5 minutes has gone by and he hasn't said he's good to go, or hasn't quit at the end of the 5 minutes, if he says he's still not good to go, then it goes to the cards. In which case, Terrence Crawford would have still won. Because Terrence Crawford was beating that ass. That is the bottom line. That whole talk about Amir Khan is the greatest welterweight of all time, Shady Slim, that went out the window on 420, my friend. That definitely went out the window. Because he was getting his ass beat. He was getting outboxed. Clearly outboxed by Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford had no need to hit him with a low blow. He didn't really need a competitive edge because he had the biggest competitive edge of them all, which is his skill set. He beat Amir Khan like nobody else has. And that is outboxing him convincingly. If it went to the cards, it would have been a technical decision for Terrence Crawford. Speaking to my next thing, Terrence Crawford is the real boogeyman at 147. It ain't Spence. It ain't Thurman. As much as I like Thurman, Terrence Crawford, he's just better than you, man. He is the best welterweight of this era. Right now, this current era. If he fights Manny Pacquiao, I think he beats Pacquiao at this point in their careers. I think he beats anybody at 147 pounds. And Terrence Crawford ain't out there just talking his mess. Let me tell you something. Errol Spence, when they ask him about Terrence Crawford, he goes talking about, oh, he's on the wrong side of the street. Terrence Crawford ain't talking about streets. He went out and looked for Errol Spence in the street and found him. Told him, make a bet. Spence says something like $100,000 and Crawford's like, no, fuck that. Bet $1 million. Crawford is that confident. He's willing to bet $1 million that he could beat Errol Spence Jr. To all my subscribers, anybody watching my videos, or just so happen to stumble on this video, hope y'all... Oh, real quick, one last thing. I almost forgot to cover this real quick. And then the people who are talking about the commentators, look. Dude, the commentators really don't mean shit. I don't think I've ever really complained about the commentators. Well, no, I have complained about the commentators with little irritating things. Which is like, you know, when Floyd Mayweather is there, then instead of calling the fight, you're talking about previous fights that Floyd Mayweather had. But yet it's Danny Garcia and somebody else in the room. That shit is annoying. But at the end of the day, what these commentators have to say have no bearing on the fight. No bearing whatsoever. The judges aren't listening to what the commentators are saying. They're judging the fight. So, does it really matter with these commentators? Like, why waste the energy of like really complaining about these guys? There ain't nothing to complain about. At the end of the day, they're just giving their take on what's going on in the fight. And in today's day and age, you can go on YouTube, listen to commentary from somebody else, and not even pay attention to the commentary on the fight. So I don't really understand the energy that goes into complaining about the commentary. But anyways, that was the last little bit that I wanted to cover real quick. So all my subscribers, anybody watching my videos, or just so happen to stump on this video, hope you have a wonderful blessed day.
Undefeated.